Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to Shulchan Aruch Yomi Table Enabled. Today we're doing Siman Kuf Hayin Gimel 173. Short Siman, only 3 halachas. Din Mayim Emsoyim. Probably something most people don't take part in. We'll see why in a second. Aleph Mayim Emsoyim Rishus. Basically, this means, everyone's familiar before the meal, you're supposed to Tilas Yadayim. A lot of people are familiar with Mayim Achronim. We'll talk more about that soon. After you're finished with your meal, you're technically supposed to wash your hands with water. There's certain kulas that apply by Mayim Achronim that don't apply by Mayim Rishonim. And then there's something we're going to learn about now called Mayim Emsoyim, which is from Gemara and Chulin. Basically, between courses, right? If you're a proper mannered person, you don't just have one course for dinner. You got at least 3 courses for dinner. That's the way to eat it. Some people, when I was in yeshiva, they give you, a plate or whatever, and you fill it up. You put a little chicken on there, a little rice, a little string beans. This is the classical Friday night dinner, maybe green beans, and you got your plate full. But if you think about it, that's like the way you eat in the army. They give you those packaged meals on the airplane, in jail. They give you types of the things. So if you want to eat like a free man, you want to eat with a cultured person, so you're gonna want to put everything on different plates. You have your salad first, then you'll have your appetizer. Then you'll maybe have your main meal, you have dessert. A good-mannered person has small courses, but many courses, and that makes you a refined and rich person. So between these courses, on Shabbos, people can relate to this. There are different courses on Shabbos, usually in most people's homes. So there's an need to wash your hands, but you don't have to. It's Rishus, right? The Gemara says Rishus, so the Mishnah Berurah explains, Ratza notel, Ratza ain't notel. If you want to wash, go wash. If you don't want to wash, you don't want to wash. You don't have to wash. I'll explain a different pshat, and Ian to lean on what I think the pshat is over here. I think there's more severity to wash your hands. You really should wash your hands, but only in a certain circumstance. I will tell you that what I believe in Ian to lean on. This is talking about between different pots of food. Usually tavshil refers to a piece of meat. If you're going to eat a piece of meat and then you want to eat cheese, chova, right? Ayin miyardea siman peitet, right? When you eat first, meat, right? Normally you have to wait 6 hours before you eat cheese. So this is talking about, I don't know, you have to look over there. Meaning, if you want to, I know the halakha is the opposite when you have. Maybe that's what it's talking about. Havashal Lagvina, meaning you first ate cheese and then you ate meat. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Otherwise, you have to wait 6 hours. And there, either you have to wait half an hour or you have to do two out of 3 things. If I remember correctly, either wash your hands, wash your mouth, or eat something. So that's why you have to wash your hands. It's a chova. I think he's talking about where you're first eating the cheese and then eating the meat. Because you eat the meat first, then you have to wait 6 hours or 3 hours, according to some poskim, or 1 hour, according to some poskim. But beis bein basal adagim chova litol. You eat, so if you have fish and then you have meat, right? You have to wash your hands. Mishum the kashal adavar acher. This is a gemara. This is the gemara in Psachim, because you're going to get saras otherwise. V'chamira sakanta misura. It's worse sakana than iser. So even though normally between different dishes you don't have to, it's up to you if you want to wash. Between fish and meat, I guess the same thing would apply between meat and fish. Whichever one you had first, you have to wash your hands. Now, it's hard to believe this makes sense, even if you're taking a fork and knife and eating your piece of salmon. It doesn't get on your hands at all. I mean, why do you have to wash your hands if your hands are completely clean? I'll talk more about that. Ian to lean on. Gimel kol dvarim hanogim achronim nogim b'emsoim. Anything that applies Mayim Achronim, we didn't get to yet, applies by Emsoim, Ben Lahakel, Ben Lahakmer. There are certain chumras by Mayim Achronim more than Mayim Rishonim, and there are certain ones that are makel on a number of the kulas by Mayim Achronim. You don't have to wash a revius of water, a little bit of water is okay. You don't have to wash the whole hand, you can wash until the second knuckles. You don't have to wash with a kli, it doesn't have to be with a kli. Chutz, the only thing, Ben Lahakel, Ben Lahakmer, chutz mehesach hadash, opposed to Emsoim, Nishadai, and Rosel Echol, V'yadav Shrik, and Shimur. Except the only thing that is different by Emsoim, which is like Rishonim, is that just like by Mayim Rishonim, Hesach Hadas, if you wash your hands, right, and then you walk around the block or you forget what you're doing and you don't remember if your hands are clean or not, Mayim Rishonim, that's a problem. And also Mayim Emsoim, because here also the idea is you want to continue eating and therefore you have to wash your hands. except for drying your hands, Shem Saim Srichim Nigov Karishonim, you have to dry your hands because, again, one of the reasons you dry your hands is because when you have wet hands, you make the bread soggy. So you're continuing to eat here, you also want to make sure your hands are dry. Some say, we're not totally like Mayim Achronim, that you need specifically water for Mayim Emsoim. Aleph, the consensus among the poskim is that Mayim Achronim, you could use. You can use any liquid because it's just to take off the sweat, the zuama, the sweat from your hands. Your hands are a little dirty, maybe they have salt on them. So you can use any liquid to get that off. In terms of Mayim Emsoim, you have to definitely use water. Mishra brings the Rashal says that other mashkim also you could use for Mayim Emsoim, but a lot of Achronim Paskin, it seems to be the consensus psak is like the Ramah, that you can only use water for Mayim Emsoim, which is going to make a lot of sense in what I tell you and Ian to lean on coming up next.